All right, stunning win by Brandon Figueroa. Right, he got it done against Nick Ball. What a fight, very entertaining, back and forth. It's a close fight, very, very difficult fight to score because Brandon Figueroa was throwing more punches, coming forward a lot of the time. Nick Ball, he wasn't running, but he was being pushed back by Figueroa, but then Nick Ball was landing a lot better, cleaner punches. He was using a quick jab, he was snapping Figueroa's head back, he was coming in with combinations that were landing. A lot of Figueroa's work, it was catching the gloves, or Nick Ball was catching, jabs and hooks and whatever from Brandon Figueroa. He was catching them on the gloves, he was doing good work of keeping his hands up and catching the shots, and being a small guy like he is, Nick Ball, or a short guy, he can get low and he's hard to hit, right? But yeah, Brandon Figueroa was getting through the guard at times, and with the sheer volume, he was landing punches, every round. It was really hard, difficult to score the rounds, because they were back and forth rounds. Sometimes Ball had the advantage, sometimes Ball was landing the better punches, and then Figueroa would start to take over and back him up and land some shots. After 11 rounds, I had the fight. I had Nick Ball ahead, and going into the 12th, on my card, the only way Brandon Figueroa could win is if he got the stoppage, or a couple of knockdowns, right? Because I had Ball up 6 rounds. I had him winning 6 rounds. I had Figueroa winning 4 rounds, and I had one swing round in there. I believe it was round 2. I couldn't separate them. This is what I mean, There was a lot of swing rounds in there though. Round 4 was another very close round that I gave to Ball, but that could have easily gone to Figueroa. If someone had this fight 6-5 to Figueroa going into the last round, I'm fine with that, because it was that close that every round was close. I think the only clear rounds were round 3, where Figueroa outworked Ball, did much better work in round 3, and then Ball in round 6 and 7 was pretty, dominant. Not dominant, but it was clear that he was winning those rounds. Figueroa came back into the fight actually. I had Ball at one stage. I had Ball winning after 7 rounds. I had him winning 5 rounds. Figueroa 1 round and one tied round. And then Figueroa came back into it. Rounds 8, 9, and 10 I gave to Figueroa. Right, so he came back in, and it was, on my card 5-4 with the one swing round. And then round 11 though, I gave to Ball. I thought Ball picked it up in round 11, championship rounds, and he got that win. And that, on my card anyway, it put the fight into a situation where Figueroa needed the knockout to win, right, or a couple of knockdowns, and he got it. Spectacular finish, left hook it was that put Nick Ball down. It's funny because Brandon Figueroa, he wasn't letting his hands go with power. You know, he was doing good work, good pressure. You know, he was using the jab, he was bringing the pressure, but there was nothing on his punches, you know, which is why Ball was able to win, you know, a lot of rounds, because Figueroa, he wasn't putting a lot on his punches. So the knockout really came out of the blue, you know, because Figueroa, it didn't seem like his punches were having any impact on Ball. And vice versa, you know, neither guy looked stunned or hurt in any round until the last round, obviously, where Figueroa landed that big shot, the big left hook, and took Ball out. But until then, neither guy had been down, neither guy had been hurt. You know, they were both taking the punches well. You know, in my pre-fight video to this, I did say it's a 50-50 fight. You know, somehow the bookies and a lot of people had Brandon Figueroa as a big underdog, right? I had it 50-50 going into the fight. I did predict Nick Ball to win a close decision, a 7-5 decision. But I said it could go the other way too. It could be Figueroa 7-5. Yeah, I expected the fight to go the distance. But Figueroa, you know, props to him. You know, he came up with that big punch in the last round. And Nick Ball actually got up to his feet, right? He did well to get up to his feet, because when he took that shot, he was down. You know, I thought he was out. But he got back up to his feet. But then obviously Figueroa came and finished the job. You know, closed the show. So great win for Figueroa. You know, and this was a great fight for boxing too. You know, after the fight last week where, you know, it was a snooze fest with Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. You know, this was a really good fight. And both guys, you know, deserve credit here, because like I say, on my card, Ball was ahead going into the last round. And even if you had Figueroa ahead, you know, that's fine as well. But it was a razor close fight, and, you know, for me, I think they should run it back. You know, the champion, he lost his title in the last round. So for me, it's one where, you know, you've got to run it back. It was that close, and it was an entertaining fight as well. You know, this time it was in Nick Ball's backyard. Next time, you know, Figueroa's the champion, it can be in his backyard, right? So I hope they run it back. It's well worth it. But yeah, very good fight, very, very close fight. Yeah, like I say, for me it was a 50-50. It was always a 50-50 going into it. It turned out that way. But yeah, again, props to Figueroa for getting it done. Alright, let me know what you thought.